Hello and welcome. My name is Tom.
And I'm Heather.
And you're sitting at The Couples Table.
The Couples Table is a live stream podcast here on this channel. Join us for better or worse.
For richer or poorer.
In sickness and in health.
As long as we both shall stream.
Woo.
I'm going to double, triple check our
And if you are
here.
new here, because we are getting some new folks, this is a live stream podcast about the life and business of our experience as being two full-time YouTube creators, and we're also married. So that's all we talk about.
Yeah.
On this show.
All right. I think
anyway, hello to the pre-show peeps. Good to see you.
We got all kinds of people here today.
All right. Richard's here. Filmtopia in the house. Robotrix. Hello. Doc is a B2B media business with a focus on content creation, coaching, consulting, pre- and post-production. YouTube is part of my strategy, but I'm a creator, not a tuber. That's a potato. J Poetics. Hello, everyone. Good to be back. Mr. Camera Junkie in the house. Aubrey's here. Hello. The Curiosity. What did I just say? Curiosity Network podcast. Hello from the other side. Keith White is here. Jared is here. And Monica is here. Hello. Spiral Lab. Don't forget to hit the like. Nick Lewis. Hello. Excited for this chat. Michael Sladek. Nice to see you.
It's been so long, Michael. It's been so long. Ken's here.
Rio Pel Room. Hello.
Rio Pel Room.
Yes. If
Mystery
you didn't
blue
notice
microphone.
this
Yes,
microphone.
I realized I was trying to figure out which mic I was going to use.
Hey, Drew. Call me Cubby. What's up? Hello.
You know what I learned after getting this microphone last week, which by the way, like it is not really intended to be used this way, but we're using it this way today, is this also comes in a black version, which makes sense. And it also comes in a chroma key green. So that way you could use it in front of a green screen and it would disappear. But then I saw Aubrey and I was like, that is super cool. Just as a green microphone. It looks amazing. Maybe that's why this is blue. Maybe that's why they do a chroma key blue. They do a black and then a blue and a green. That makes a lot of sense, actually.
I never understood that. Like, what is the difference between the blue screen and the green screen?
So correct me if I'm wrong, someone who knows, but what I have always taught it and understood it as is you can use any color for chroma key, but you want to use colors that aren't showing up anywhere else. But if you use certain colors like oranges, browns, whatever's, those are also in skin tones. No matter what your skin color is, those are in your skin tone.
Oh, I see.
So blues and greens are not in human skin unless you have a problem or something. So it's an easy thing to put a person in front of and not have it key out. And then, you know, if you're wearing a blue shirt, you would use a green screen. If you need to film something green, then you would want to use a blue screen. So it's just nice to have options. I even remember I had students do a project once, which was really cool. They were filming a TV in front of a green screen, but they wanted to replace the screen on the TV. And so they put blue paper on the TV and then the green screen behind it. So it was blue and green. And then they like did double layer keying. Wow. And it was really, they were like ninth graders. It was way cool.
Todd Christmas Clatter in the house. Impressive Tony is on episode 14 of the podcast, working my way through.
That's impressive.
Also, I read that clip like a boss. So awesome. Homesick Mac is here. Tom nailed it. I really green when I'm mad. Doc smash. All right, guys. So, what are we talking about today, Tom?
Well, we're talking about... you wrote it down, right?
No, wait.
Oh.
Wait, what were you going to say?
I phrased what we're talking about today in a really cool way that I forgot, but Heather wrote it down and made a note.
Well, I always like to start with, like, how did we come up with this?
Yes.
As an idea.
Yes. So we've talked about YouTube as a business and business of
many
YouTube
times.
and all things many times. That is nothing new. And I think I wrote a little disclaimer to myself here, but I'm thinking it also applies to Heather. Everything we're saying right now is from our own perspective. So I think the best thing to do when you hear discussions like this is not to take it as gospel and like make all your decisions based on it, but cherry pick the parts that work for you. Even if we bring up something and you listen to it and your end result is that you decide to do the exact opposite.
Yes.
That is also really important.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much, I shouldn't say what you're doing. What you're doing is important, but understanding why you're doing the things you're doing is really, really important, especially in the world of YouTube, because it becomes very easy over time to just get bombarded with info, feedback, input. People will tell you should do this, advice, you need to be doing this, and they might even mean well, but it might not work for you. So it's very important, whatever you decide to do for your own approach, that it's something you have that you understand why you're doing it. And we're just going to share our perspective on this one thing, and hopefully it's helpful to some degree. That was my disclaimer at the beginning.
Okay.
What were you going to say? Check that.
No, that's good.
Okay.
So how did we come up with this as a topic? Because I asked you, I said, well, you were scrolling through Twitter, and then you were like, I feel like there's this thing in the air.
So some of our favorite episodes come from when we have like a discussion that sort of bubbles up over several days.
So
for
we
several,
talk about
like,
it offline just between us.
There have been a few days just in the evenings where it's like, yeah, I saw this thing, or this person said this, or I saw this, or I've been thinking this, and it just kind of we come back to it, and then it just like, you know what, that might be
ends up being
topic.
the topic.
And so the thing that kicked it into gear for me this time was something to do on Twitter, which it's not so much what is being said, but I like looking for trends, at least in the spheres that I follow. And there's a trend I've been noticing that's sort of like this hybrid thing of like burnout / frustration / a dusting of entitlement. And it's a light dusting of entitlement that I don't think is intentional or anything. And a lot of it seems to take place in these discussions where people are talking about their channels as a business. And a good example of that would be there's often discussions about creators undervaluing themselves. So a brand will reach out and say, hey, we'll do a sponsored video. We'll give you $200. And there's people who are like, dude, I'll make $0 for this video. Otherwise, 200 is 200 more than I would make. And then there are other people who say, hey, no, that is way too little. Like, don't do that, because then it also makes that company think that it's okay to pay that little for something. And then there's all this discussion back and forth. And so it becomes this thing where it's like people start feeling as though they do have the value and they want to charge for it. But then it's like, I see people just yelling at clouds, like, brands should be paying me, infinite amount of money for everything that I do. And like, this brand needs to do this needs to do that, which is not a great discussion that I like seeing. But then I also see people who have yet to start joining in on this discussion like they want to kick their YouTube career into gear with the pure focus on generating income and revenue from day one. And I have thoughts and opinions about that. So that's sort of where I was at when I was bringing it up, but you have also a different side to it.
Yeah. I don't know how to get in.
It's hard. I didn't either. You just got to kind of just start talking and figure it out.
Okay, so what was our topic, or the title? Because it was, is YouTube a business? Is that what it was?
I mean,
sorry.
Isn't
What's the
we don't know the title of the stream that we are doing right now.
Sorry, hold on. I can't find.
Is doing YouTube a business?
Is doing YouTube business. Okay, so yeah. I mean, obviously that's like from your perspective. For Tom and I, it is.
Yes.
And, if you know us, I don't think it's any surprise that I think that's one of the cool parts of YouTube is that it can be a business, whether it's side business or full-time thing or what have you. And one of the coolest things about YouTube is that there is a very low barrier to entry, right? Like, anyone, any age, any background, any experience can figure it out and share their story and make it happen. It's not easy, but anybody can do it if you have an internet connection. The problem is that I think because it is so accessible, when people don't see the success when they do something exactly the way that someone else has done, or they've followed a formula, or they've done the best practices or whatever, they get frustrated. I don't know, it's like almost taking it out on external factors, which I don't think that, there's so many things that you can't control when it comes to doing YouTube. And then the other thing is, I think this is where we might disagree, is that I think when people think of a successful YouTube creator, the thing that they picture in their mind is the like iconic YouTube influencer I have 1 million plus subscribers. I make a lot of money off of AdSense and brand deals and all of that stuff, which is fine. There are other ways. There are, so many other ways that you can make money. But if you try to follow that formula and you're just not, you don't have the right, I don't know. I don't want to say you don't have the right personality, but because, obviously there is no right personality. But if it's not the right fit for you, like that way might not work, but that doesn't mean that you're not capable of seeing success on YouTube.
Right. That, I feel like I'm sorry if I said this last week or not. I feel like I had this thought and I honestly can't remember if I verbalized it or not. But when I was student teaching, I was a student teacher. That's when you work as a slave, basically. As a teacher, you get unpaid and you work full time, and it's awful. And my master teacher, which is literally the term, was one of my friends who's an amazing English teacher. And so I was in his class for a chunk of time. And he is an amazing teacher, has great relationships with his students, and he's also very he'll be very goofy, but as soon as a student steps over the line or fails to live up to an expectation, they immediately know about it, and there's no black or white, no minced words, nothing. It is very clear that's how it should be done. And that's been his approach for decades as a teacher. That's not how I function as a person. That's just not how I interact with people. That's not what I do. But the way I interact with people, if a student were to sort of get out of line or whatever, is to sort of, if anything, take the more exasperated, come on, man. I'm just here doing my job. You're just here. Let's just make this a more enjoyable experience for both of us. It's kind of more of that sort of approach, which is different. And when I was student teaching, I was taught that was the wrong way to do it because that's not how the environment that I was in was being run. And so I tried to learn how to do it the other way. And when I got my own classroom, that's how I tried to run it. And very quickly, especially in my own classroom, it was not working at all because that's not how I work at all. And so even though I was teaching the same subject matter to the same age group, I decided after a month of just pulling my hair out that I was going to just handle things the way I would naturally handle them, whatever that is. And I did that. And everything got so much better because it was easier for me. I think the students understood that I wasn't putting on a show, that everything was natural and normal. And then I became successful in my own way as a teacher, even though I was doing a very different thing from what somebody else who was also very successful as a teacher was doing. So same subject matter, same age group, very similar situations, two entirely different approaches, both successful. And I feel like that idea applies here very much as well. There's so many different approaches, and a real key is to what works for you most effectively.
I think one of the reasons why I brought this up as a topic is because for the past couple weeks, I've been obsessed with Final Fantasy 14. I can't even tell you, play for hours a day. It has been my therapy during PMDD. So I've been that's all I've been doing. And when it comes to new hobbies or new, whatever new thing that you're into, I think this is common for a lot of people. You start following accounts, you start your digital footprint starts to reflect your new interest. And so I'm on Twitter, and Twitter is just confused because it's YouTube news, digital media news, content creator stuff, and then Final Fantasy fan art, and then back to, the YouTube algorithm this, and TikTok's trying this, and what the heck is going on with Instagram, and then also Final Fantasy is awesome, blah blah blah. And that's jarring just because, but I started to cringe whenever I saw I'm looking at my analytics, and I'm starting to see that there's this trend here, or there's this trend here, or how do we capture attention and hook people and this, and by looking at the analytics and looking at the data and looking at the graphs and looking at the numbers and all that. And I have been trying to be really good with unfollowing and making sure to curate, because I want to keep in touch with people that like are in my space, but sometimes it's just like I can't, like sometimes I just like don't need to see some stuff every day. And there was a lot of like that, a lot of like emphasis on the numbers, which I feel like I don't know, maybe you can chime in here. You have 100K, channel.
101K as of yesterday.
Wow, Tom. But I'd be curious to know how much you look at the analytics, because I don't look at them at all. But I also understand that like we do YouTube very differently, and the people that we work with also do YouTube very differently. So like you work with brands that have like very big, well, like Artlist. Okay, they have like a lot. I think they have a bigger customer base than someone like Mighty Networks. I actually don't know about that.
I don't know.
Because now, yeah, actually, that's a bad example.
Rode has a bigger.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. Yeah. Yeah. Or like the other people are niche, like DJI, like huge,
global,
right? Yeah. And so obviously they look at, I think for those brands, they want to know like there's some kind of exposure and awareness that they're paying for when they do the sponsor thing. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I think the reason why I cringe is because I don't know how much that actually helps you be successful on YouTube in 2022. I think 5 years ago, yes. I think that look at the analytics, look at the trends, and double down. Today, I don't know. There's too many exceptions to the rule that I think by boxing yourself into like data that YouTube thinks is a good thing is like boxing yourself into the YouTube influencer content creator like mold, which is fine if you want to do that, but I just don't think that like, I don't know.
Yeah, I can chime in from my point of view, and then I'd like to check in with comments before moving forward. So what I will say is yesterday I shared a thing on Twitter. It was a link to a video, so if you wanted to find, it's the most recent thing I have tweeted, the most recent tweet I have twote. But you can also just go to Super Eye Patch Wolf on YouTube, and I think it's his second most recent video. It's called Influencer Courses Are Garbage, The Dark Side of Content Creation. It's 2 hours long. Not only would I encourage everyone here to actually watch that video, but actually watch it. Don't have it passive in the background. Listen to it. Like, actually watch it. It's that good. It's worth your time. I promise. But a point, one of the many points he makes, he talks about analytics, and he makes a very good case at one point in the video for diving into, Google is a data company, is one of the many things that it is. And so when you talk about YouTube analytics, that could be anything from checking your subscriber number to, super crazy granular trends on your channels and stuff. He talks about the thing that he has noticed after taking 11 YouTube courses was that the main thing they all teach is sort of that same thing of like dive into your analytics, figure out what's working, make new content based on that. And his argument is that will give you short-term success because you're doing stuff that works and the platform's going to like it, but it's going to do long-term damage to your channel because it is going to box you in, and it is also going to stunt and prevent you from trying new creative things. And from his point of view, which I agree with, YouTube first and foremost should be a creative endeavor. Like everything that could come after that, all of the revenue and the business opportunities and things, amazing. But none of that is going to be sustainable. You're not going to be able to stick with that for long enough to make it happen if you're not doing it because you get an intrinsic excitement for making something and sharing something. And he even goes so far, which I love, as to say that the videos you make are a piece of you going out there. And it's not just like content creation, because it's
your voice.
You made a thing that
no one else can make.
Yeah, and you put it out there, and it has a value because of that. And I really loved that, and it was really nice to see somebody with a large following who's been on the platform for a long time, who's seen success in a lot of ways, basically just refute what are the current best practices that I think are driving a lot of people crazy in a lot of ways. And while there is some validity to them, also causing some harm. And the last point that I want to make up real quick, which is purely anecdotal, I think you might even agree with this, but I personally, at least off the top of my head, I can't think of anyone who is earning money from their YouTube channel, whether it's full or part-time, and started out with the intention to do that. So even the people I know who are full-time YouTubers, that was not an expected thing when they started their channel. People are doing it part-time. They're very happy if their channel's generating money, but they didn't create their account going like, oh man, as soon as I get that sweet paycheck, it's all Lamborghinis all day. I don't know anyone who has had that mindset, dove in, and been successful with it personally that I can think of. And
I know one person.
You do?
Yeah. His name's Thomas. It's not you, though.
I was like, yeah.
Yeah, and now he's a Netflix show. It's that one.
Yeah.
But see, that's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah, but to that point, I would personally hate to be doing the kind of stuff that he has to do, which he might love and hopefully does.
Right, but it's that
not
typical YouTube influencer, like, you know, like,
right.
It's that formula of like, you're in your, you know, you're a young guy who's like super cute, used to do modeling, and now you're gonna get a creator house, and it's just like,
yeah, bigger,
manufactured
more
drama.
extreme.
Yeah, like, and if I cannot judge you if that's what you want to do, like, great, you know. And that's why I'm not saying there's a right or wrong, but I think the reason why I can't help but cringe whenever I see people obsessing over analytics is that it takes away from, okay, bear with me, I wrote this down. I don't even know if I'm just making this up, or I don't know like where in the archives I'm pulling this. So Henry Ford
Sure.
made the car, right?
The Chevy, yeah.
No. Okay. So if you had asked him in his time to gather data about transportation, it would have been a lot of horse and carriage, right? And you can imagine the data, like, I don't know, go stand at this street corner, count how many people like walk over, whatever, like how many rides do people take, or like what's the average, you know, distance that people travel, like how can we make this more comfortable, how do we make it so like horses can travel further, or like, you know, what do we got to do to design the wagon so we can like maximize the blah blah blah. So you can imagine, like, just imagine whatever time period this was, and like the YouTube analytics dashboard for that, right? I think we can all picture it. And the equivalent is basically saying, like, you know, go look into your YouTube dashboard and here's all the data, and like double down on the thing, right? But instead, what Henry Ford did was invent something that looks nothing like the horse and carriage at all. And if you looked at the data, there's nothing there that's going to like
tell you that's a good idea.
To make something up like that completely does not exist.
Yeah.
At all.
Go ahead.
And that's what I think, you know, letting the analytics dictate what you do prevents you from like breaking out of that box. Like it, and that's the hard part. That is 1,000% the hard part, because who can figure out what your X factor is aside from yourself? It's every single, you know, great inventors, like writer's block, jamming your head into the wall, you know, just testing and trying and failing over and over and over again. So like I saw Greg say here, so much of YouTube success is luck. I actually don't think it is. Like I think luck in a way that you create it, right? Like the more that you can,
I mean, I would say luck is opportunity meets preparedness, but there is also, I mean, there of course there is, like, you know, you can't dictate what the trends are and stuff like that, but also like, you know, I just think that if you use your fun gauge
as the data more than what YouTube is telling you is a green check mark. Like, I think that's when you break through, because at the end of the day, what the YouTube algorithm is meant to do is to chase people, not the other way around.
Well, yeah. So 2 things. The video I mentioned, the dark side of content creation, also talks about the YouTube algorithm as a machine learning thing that's incredibly complex, that is also designed partially, it seems, to actively discourage YouTube creators so that they will keep uploading out of fear, because there's a clear benefit to the platform having more content uploaded to, right? Like, people uploading more stuff is important. But to go to your point, I found this newspaper article yesterday. This is a New York Times clipping from December 8th, 1903. Okay. It's old. And it says, "Man won't fly for 1,000,000 years. To build a flying machine would require the combined and continuous efforts of the mathematicians and mechanics for 1,000,000 to 10,000,000 years. And the Wright brothers flew their plane 9 days later." So it just reminded me of that. I think we should definitely check in with comments and do that. But it just reminded me of the Henry Ford story.
Yeah.
All right. Now we can afford ourselves the opportunity.
Let's check on comments. All right. Chasing money. Todd Christmas Clatter. Chasing money is an unhappy venture. Chasing money on YouTube is a special kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Roxanne's here. Hello. Long time no see. Warm hugs. Good to see you. Impressive Tony saw the video you're talking about.
Yeah. I've actually watched it twice because it's just that good.
Spiral Lab. I find that focusing on the analytics kills the joy. It makes me so anxious that has the opposite effect. I can't make videos anymore.
I think if you have a specific question that you want to answer about the stuff you make, that's where the analytics can be really handy. If you want to know, like, if you're genuinely wondering, do my under 10-minute videos do better than my over 10-minute videos? Do thumbnails with my face in them do better than thumbnails with not? Like, if you have a question that you need answered like that, there's so much info in your analytics to help you figure that out. And I think that's great. But I think the insane obsession over, like, oh my God, like, you know, this, my AVD dipped here at this critical hot point in the heat graph. Like, I don't know. Are you giving me a weather report, or are we talking about a YouTube video?
I think he and you obviously know infinitely more about that than I do, but I will say part of me just enjoys the number chasing, leveling up. It's like an RPG.
Yeah, I mean, setting milestones, going for, like, that's also, like, where it does become so personal, is there's nothing wrong with that if you're the one setting the tone for that. If that's what you want to do because you have fun with it. If you want to, like, could I, like, increase my ad revenue this month? Could I hit this subscriber goal? Could I do, like, that's your decision, not because you feel an external pressure to do that. I think is important.
Raphael says boxing in is the thing. What is the thing I'm trying to avoid?
Yeah.
Monzon Media. I've tried 2 courses and my takeaway has been use them as a blueprint to learn the game, but you have to make your own path on this journey.
Right. And I mean, the courses in the video that he took were the ones, it was like Jake Paul's course and these ones, which are very, like, they're just money grabs, obviously. But he did go pretty hard onto Graham Stephan's course, which is one of the more high regarded, like, YouTube. It's not like, because you have a YouTube course on, like, how to start a YouTube channel, but yours, I feel like, is very nuts and bolts. Like, hey, you want to start a YouTube channel? Let me just take all the stuff that you would normally learn in 6 months and we'll just do it in a course, and you'll just, it's very practical. It's not for the outcome of fame and fortune in this. And all of these other courses are promising you.
I can't sell that to you. I don't have it myself. So
because in the middle of the video, he has a breakdown where he's looking at all the stuff where it's like people are making videos like how to get 1 million subscribers in a month and all this stuff. And the channel has like hundreds of thousands of subscribers, less than 1 million. And he's like, this number is not this number. If these courses work, why don't they work? Like, I feel like I'm going crazy because this video that talks about how to get 1 million views has 27 views. It's just sort of that world that you can find yourself in.
Doc says, I restarted with the intention to be a full-time creator. Raphael says, the biggest thing I think about is what has worked, will it continue to work, and how should I focus moving forward?
Yeah. And I think, Raphael, you're a very good example of someone who, like, follows your own compass. I feel like you do you do things the audience, you serve your audience, I guess I should say. That's what it is. And that's important, but it doesn't feel like you're making stuff that you wouldn't want to make anyway just to serve the platform or to, like, make a number go higher. It feels like you're trying to find, which is what a creator does. You have an idea, you have an audience, how can you like combine those most effectively?
Todd says, I had to make peace early on. The analytics for a Christmas channel would be worthless.
It's such an interesting just idea.
Homesick Mac, which camera are you using in Heather's studio?
Oh, this is the
Canon 6D Mark II.
Yeah. This is my
I don't know
Iceland
what the
camera.
lens is, but
it's the 35mm f2.0.
it's completely covered in dust because
I know I was gonna
never
take a little
touch
compressed
it.
air to it before the stream today.
Ben says, I think it's important to be able to think of YouTube as a viable career path, not in lottery kind of way. Start with a passion, but believe that after time and consistency, it can produce an income. Yes, so that's why, like, I think luck is part of it, but I also think that, like an RPG, the more that you hone in on your craft, like, you are going to become a better communicator. You are going to level up your, video production skills for how you want to tell your story. That is inevitable. If you're practicing, like, you're going to get better.
Well, it's like, I mean, like if you wanted to be a photographer and you got your camera on day one, you're not going to go out and try to book a wedding.
Right.
You're going to learn how to take photos, and you're going to take a bunch of bad photos, you're going to take some good photos, you're going to take better photos. And then at a certain point, you might decide that now I could probably ask someone, or someone might actually just see your stuff and go like, hey, could you do photos for me? But that's not going to happen on day one of you having the camera. But it's okay to get your camera and go like, I would love to.
Did you have any other points?
I had a lot of other points, actually.
Oh, okay. Because I had questions, but go ahead. You go. We caught up.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, so the other points that I just wanted to share as I was thinking about this topic.
What were the other points, Tom?
Because
he's got little notes out.
What I've seen is that the drive to earn money on YouTube makes people do weird things and end up very unhappy. And a lot of the people, some who I know, some who I don't, but people who I've admired and make stuff that I love.
I'm shaking my head because I saw this clip. I don't know how she accidentally uploaded it, but it was a mom who like was pretending something sad was happening, had her son in her lap in the car, like they were parked.
Oh,
but she was like,
I saw this. It was really sad.
She was like, look like you're crying or whatever.
No, it was their dog died.
Oh, shoot.
For real. But it was like a family vlog thing, and the kid was really crying, and the mom was like, we need to take a thumbnail, I know, but like look like you're crying. And the kid was like, I am crying. She's like, no, but like
oh,
thumbnail
I can't,
it.
like.
Yeah, it was pretty messed up.
See, I know
that's
that's not
wrong.
I would hope that's not anybody here.
Yeah, that's a wrong thing to do. But so here's what I was thinking is there's so many people, like I was saying, that I know and that I don't know, who I followed for a long time, many of whom inspired me to want to do YouTube. And I noticed a lot of people seem very unhappy right now and are feeling burnt out and frustrated. And I've noticed a direct correlation between the level of dissatisfaction with what they're making and where their channels are at, and the amount of like brand sponsored income related content that they're doing. A lot of them, it's now 100%. It's like all they do. And so I'm like, okay, totally makes sense why you would be feeling that way. But
so you're saying that you can actually draw the correlation that there are creators who are now doing 100% sponsored content, like all of the content, all the videos.
Here's a generalized example.
Okay.
Take a creator who starts out doing their own thing. They will take my schedule, for example, uploading once a week. So 4 videos a month, right?
Okay.
And they're just making their videos, doing their thing. At a certain point, they get on a brand's radar because that is an organic thing that would happen over time. And maybe they start doing a sponsored video. That's cool. So they're going to, okay, I'm going to do 4 videos this month, and one of them is going to be sponsored. And then that does well, and they maybe do that for a while. If they keep growing and more opportunities pop up and the dollar signs get bigger, then they might go, well, okay, I could do 2 sponsored videos this month. And this idea I had for next week, I'll push that to next week and I'll do the sponsored video instead. And then what I've noticed is that's kind of what happens. And then because, especially as the channels grow, and the sponsored stuff goes from just some little company going like, I'll give you $500 for this thing, to like a giant company giving you 5 figures for something that involves contracts and revisions. And you're kind of doing client work at that point. You don't have time to then focus on the other thing that you just want to do for fun, because you need to live up to your end of this contract that you've signed and this agreement, and there's dates involved. But you also get really good paychecks from it, and that's important. And then you can kind of see how that creeps over, where now they're just not intentionally, but there just isn't time to do the other thing. The balance tips to where that's it. And you can just put yourself in that position and go, okay, if that's how you've been working under these deadlines, working with people, trying to meet requirements, wanting these videos to perform, negotiating paychecks, and that's the only thing that you've been associating with your channel for months or even a couple of years, that you would then start going, well, this isn't that much fun anymore, because it's not. And it's not that that's an intentional thing. That's a thing that creeps in, because here's the point that I wanted to make, because this is where I feel like the contradiction is, for at least from my point of view, just speaking for myself, my point of view is my channel is my source of income. All the different things come from my channel. So I have a vested interest in my channel making money. It's very important. And I would like the channel to make more money. Who wouldn't? But here's where the contradiction is. Where the channel income is now for me is fine. Like if it just stayed here, I'd be very happy. It'd be awesome if it went higher, but I'm totally fine with where it is. Like I don't need it to be more than this. The scary part, though, is that unlike my teaching job, where it was a tenured state position, where basically as long as I didn't like beat up a kid in the hallway or something, I was going to have a job every year to some degree until I retired, this doesn't have that. So there could be some change at some point. The platform could change. Some kind of legislation could change. People could just hate my face all of a sudden. Whatever it might be, where things just, the bottom drops out. And that means that while the monthly income is enough, there is kind of the concern of, it's not just about paying today's bills, but it's like $1 for now and $1 for later. Like I want more, so that way I can be sure that the sense of security. Yeah. And so when you're feeling that way, and then the opportunity shows up to, cash in on the thing that you've built a little bit, you can see why it's harder. It's like, I'm not criticizing the people who do that and who feel that way, because you can totally understand why someone might do that if that's how they're taking care of things. But it's tough. And then I would bet if a business savvy person went through my channel and my finances and all of like my inboxes and opportunities, they would be like, Tom, you're making like 20% of what you could be making every month.
Oh, totally.
What are you doing?
I mean, you have an ethics statement on your freaking website. Like, we know how
that
brand unfriendly.
Yeah, it drives away. I've lost 2 very big brand opportunities in the last week because of that. But it's fine. But if it was just about numbers, someone could come in and tweak that and like revenue would go through the roof. But I don't want that. But as a creator, I actually feel, when I see all these discussions about it, I start to feel scared. I start to feel insecure. I start to feel
like you're doing it wrong.
Second guessing myself, like I'm doing it wrong, like I'm being stupid. And I have to constantly remind myself that I'm doing it my way and it works for me. And all that my thing needs to do is work for me and us. And that's it. And if it's doing that, it's fine. And it's very hard to like stay on that course when there's so much around the world that can distract you. I don't know. That was like the shortest way I could possibly condense these thoughts.
That's good.
Okay.
Color says, my hobby channel has turned into full-time income. It was a little scary transition, but loving the content I make has made it an easy journey.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah, congrats. Doc says, there is no such thing as luck. That is putting your success in someone else's hands. Luck equals labor under correct knowledge. You are 100% in control. Raphael says, chasing money is the worst, and so many will not make a career out of YouTube, let alone become superstars on the platform. Treat it like a separate income stream.
Right. Because if you're making the stuff because you just want to make stuff, you've already won from day one.
Like when every tech YouTuber was reviewing that stupid vacuum.
Yeah, it's so funny to me when something that just does not fit on a channel is not just on one channel, but on like 10 channels. And you're like, what is going on here?
If you can afford it, skip being a brand B. It's good money, but you slowly lose control, or don't be a control freak and appreciate they want to pay you, not someone else.
Yeah, the last note that I had for myself was, if I wanted to do things I don't want for money, I would have kept my job. Like, why would I put myself in this position? Like, I'll just go do my job.
Like, literally, it is so much easier to just
that would have
been
been way better.
Yeah, you have, like, benefits.
It's not my problem. Like, I do the thing and then I leave.
You have a set schedule. Like, oh, man.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think that's like one of the reasons why I really appreciate how differently we approach it, because I am also a full-time content creator, but our income streams look very different, because I like creating content, like, because they're clients. Like, I like creating content for companies and partners that I support.
That you're on board with.
Yeah, I actually like that, because I don't know. I mean, I have my own brand, I have my own like content and stuff, but I'm not against like doing client work, because I'm still creating content, and that it's still a lot of fun. I can't say like, I haven't been at the point where I've done like a sponsored video like the way that you would, where I'm trying to imagine, like,
you just find yourself sitting in a bathtub filled with money.
No, with those creators that you're talking about, that like they lose their creative freedom. Like, I'm trying to imagine what does that look like? Like, what say a company is like, here's $10,000 for what? Like, I don't understand.
So a thing that pops into mind, and I'm not saying this is someone who's done this, but a thing that pops into mind is, it might have been almost a year ago at this point, Gerald and Dunn made a video where he was just explaining his frustration, kind of about this sort of stuff. And he pans over to a part of his studio that is just boxes of products. It looks like the B&H warehouse. And it's all really cool, high-end stuff that's just coming out that I think the vast majority of people watching his channel would have been like, oh my God, like I would love to be in there and just rip open those boxes and play with all that stuff. And for him, it was just a source of stress, because every single one of those items was however long it takes him to produce a video. I don't know, 15 to 20 hours minimum, I would say, at least. Every single one of those things was that, which also includes like the back and forth with the company, the date and the scheduling, the admin, the follow-up, the like. And so it wasn't just like, you have all this cool stuff here that you can go through. Right. It was like, this stuff that used to be a source of excitement is now a source of stress and overwhelmingness. And all the ideas he had for stuff he wanted to do, he couldn't do until he dug through all that, which was just this like overwhelming mountain. And I think that's kind of, that was like, I like that example because it was real. It was a physical mountain of stuff, but I think it can also be a not physical thing for some people, where it's just, there's nothing, if you just want to do brand partner stuff, like I know people who just want to be editors for other people's things and they love it. And there's nothing in the world wrong with that. It's where if you want to do your own thing and all this other stuff is pushing your own stuff and the time to do your own thing away, so you never get to do that because you have to focus on these other things. I think that's where people start feeling this like sense of frustration, this like lack of fulfillment, maybe kind of a burnout. I think that's kind of where it comes from.
Impressive Tony says, for me, YouTube is just an avenue for me to share my thoughts on movies, and growth potential earnings are an excuse for me to keep pouring time into it without feeling like I'm being irresponsible. I like how you put that.
I do too. It made me laugh.
Let's see. I am the same. Full-time content creator. YouTube is 6 or 7 on my income streams.
Yeah. I mean, and that's where it's also weird, because the same thing for me, like this is one of the most cliched things, like YouTube AdSense is not your main source of income. No, it's not. But for me, at least, YouTube is the main source of, I don't know, it's where people find me. So if any of those other things are really going to spring into life and be active, whether it's an affiliate link or my own course, which is not garbage, or any other thing, most of the time it's going to come through the YouTube channel. So even though it's not YouTube paying directly, and you've said this a lot, YouTube is that like source of everything. So the better the channel does, the better everything else does. And then that means I have a big interest in making sure the channel does well. But the good thing is, since those things don't necessarily depend on YouTube ad revenue income,
right?
I can still have the freedom. It's the same thing. Why part of me is often jealous when I see creators who rely entirely on Patreon, because it's like, whether it's monthly or by project, they know, okay, Patreon just tells you this is how much money you get every month or how much money you get every video you publish, and you just regardless of what else happens, AdSense, demonetization, super great month, super low month,
Doesn't matter.
you have this baseline right here. And I've noticed a lot of people who are able to do that to a degree where they can really pay for themselves and their lives and their families and stuff. They feels like they have a lot more freedom and a lot more fun, because if they experiment a little bit and it goes off the rails, it doesn't really matter. And that's cool. So that's one way I've seen people get around that.
Yeah. Let's see. These folks out here thinking creating is a magic wand. It took us years to be rocking these wizard sleeves. Also NDAs with all those products. Yep.
Oh yeah, figuring out and what you can and can't show and talk about.
We benefit the most stepping into YouTube with our background. That is why we want to help others avoid the pain of learning wrong. And, you know, of course, like, we're talking, but like, even between us, our niches are very different.
Yeah, and
like,
our just approaches and our feelings about it.
But I mean, like, you know, take something that's like, because a lot of people here kind of create similar content. I'm thinking something like, you know, baking, like a food channel, totally completely different from, you know, the brands that you're going to be working with aren't, you know, like content creator products necessarily. It's food stuff. Yeah, totally different. Or here, Nick, like,
yeah, that's
interior design, totally different. I've made more from people finding me on YouTube than from YouTube itself, 100-fold. Yeah, same.
Right.
And like, even this month, like this month is a low income month for me, but the fact that I can take 2 weeks off for PMDD and still be okay,
survive,
yeah, is like, what job could I do that with? And it's not like work I don't like. I still, it's still me. It's still like, you know, I don't know. I'm just always so thankful that I could do this.
Like, it is.
But I wouldn't want
the
to.
Best job for.
I could see how, like, I don't know, if I had like more clients or more opportunity, but also, you know, because there's people who are that I'm talking to, but I'm also like, I know that means more money, but that's also less time I could be playing Final Fantasy.
Well,
so, I don't know.
I was just I was talking with a brand over the last couple of days about something new that's coming out, which I think is awesome and would be a perfect fit for my channel, and I'm super excited about it. And I said, no, thank you, not gonna be involved in this. Not because there's anything wrong with it, but because it was like, it's like a $250 thing, and I was like, you know, regardless of what they're paying, regardless of any of that, that's a lot of hassle. And ultimately, if this is something that I want to talk about or learn about or share, I'll just go buy the thing whenever I want and make the video I want whenever I want and not have to have any oversight, which is how the channel got started also, like, by the way.
No back and forth.
Yeah, there's no back and forth.
Expectation, no obligation, like, just
no disclaimers, no headache. And
it's just like easier in a lot of ways.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, and there are other times where it's like, of course you want, you know, it makes more sense to work and partner with someone. But in this case, it was like, this is a lot of headache for so little payoff. And instead of going back and forth, I just was like, actually, no, thank you. Very politely was, you know, no, thank you. Not right now. Let's keep in touch, you know, all that kind of stuff. Oh, I know that was throwing money away, but it felt so much better.
I'm so curious what you think, Nick, because I know you do your channel a lot differently. My perspective might be different because YouTube is my business 100%. I've made that decision and I'm comfortable with it. Yeah, it's overwhelming at times, but every business is.
Yeah, and Nick has experience also running, like, YouTube's not your first business. You
have business
other even brick and mortar business history.
Yep. Yeah. And I mean, I don't think that there's, like, I don't think it's wrong that, because YouTube is my business too. Like, if YouTube were to shut down, I would panic. For sure.
Me too.
Like, it would not be a good thing. You know, that's the street where I've built my business. That's where my shop is. And, you know, I don't think YouTube is going to go away. I think, you know, in terms of the platform world, I think it's still, you know, nothing is even come close to competing with it. And I think, you know, thankfully it's, you know, I feel confident that it's going to be there for a really long time. But I feel, I don't know. I don't want to say I feel bad, but I don't know. I guess that's the way that I can explain it. I feel bad when someone who doesn't necessarily have that much business savvy, like, start seeing success on YouTube, and then these opportunities come in, and then you don't have like the support or anyone to ask, like, how the heck do I navigate this? And then the thing that brought you joy is just another job.
Right.
And like, you know, I feel bad because it doesn't have to be that way. But also, like, if I were in that position, you know, I took a free electric skateboard so I can, you know, for exchange for a video for the skateboard. Like, I 100% did that. It's only a couple $100 compared to, like, you know, bigger contracts and stuff. But I don't know. So, like, how do you do that? Why do you do that? Why did you do it that way? Like, why? How did you get to a point where for you it's maybe not easy to say no to, because I know the brand you're talking about, and I think it's a brand that, like, anybody would want to work with.
Right. It's one I want to work with, just not right now.
So how did you get to the point where, because I think for a lot of people, no wouldn't even be an option.
Right. And that, I mean, honestly, it was because I started my channel and built it while having a job. And knowing that even if the channel in those times made $0, it didn't really matter. It would have sucked. I wouldn't have liked that, but it wouldn't really, and it did make $0 actually for the first like couple of years. But once it started growing, knowing that, like, you know, this is my job over here, this is the thing on the side, kind of gave that freedom to build those boundaries. And the thing that building those boundaries did is it does hurt relationships in some ways, but with the ones that it doesn't hurt, the ones that you're able to build relationships with because they're willing to play within your boundaries, those become very strong relationships. And so saying no to one thing isn't scary because you know that there are other things that you'll be able to say yes to, and there are other people that are going to be on board, and you have other options because you're not tied to this one thing that becomes your ultimate source of, you know, life or death.
Homesick Max says, I've been on the freelancer path for 25 years. That creeping insecurity can really get you at times. Can be compared to YouTube with varying income streams.
Yeah.
Raphael asks, because you both work for yourselves, do you find it hard to step away and take time off, or do you always feel like you need to be on? I 100% do not find it hard to step away.
I 100% do find it hard.
I don't find it hard to step away at all. You know what? I mean, to be fair, when was it? Like last year, I was doing 3 live streams a week and like
and a video
client
and something
consulting. Like, I was crazy. I can't even. I think I'm still exhausted from that. So, like, I don't know. I think we just got really good, especially since you did the transition, and because, like, you know, a global pandemic and stuff. I think there were a lot of things in the past year where we really wanted to design a life that, like, made us happy, we were comfortable with, and we really had to get clear about our priorities. It took me a really long time to get out of survival mode because, unlike Tom, I quit my job and was like, I'm going to figure out YouTube on the way.
Yeah.
It was a very, like, that's the path I had to do it. That's the way I had to do it. There's no way I could have done full-time job and YouTube at the same time. For neurodivergent in the house, like, I can't do the two things, but most people, please do it the way that Tom did it.
Well, I meant to ask you this actually the other week when we were kind of talking about this. Maybe it was my YouTube anniversary episode, but I wanted to ask you, when you did that, when you quit your job and started your channel, what was your plan for, like, paying bills and stuff? Like, I didn't know you at that time. So obviously you had to have that thought of, like...
I didn't have a plan. My plan was, I had like 6 months-ish of savings. From your job? From my job. And the only plan I had was that I had been, and always kind of have been, a networker. I like to meet people, and my job was in nonprofit marketing. So I was always going to like networking events to meet businesses and, you know, people who did philanthropy and community partnerships and all of that. So like I was super well connected in the community, and I just figured that if worse comes to worse, I needed to find a job. I'm pretty sure between my connections, I'd find something.
So you were like building a sort of a safety network, and then
I didn't do that like with the intention. Yeah. That was just part of my job. Like I was the, you know,
no. But I mean, when you were like that first 6 months of YouTube, where you know you had savings that you were going to run out after a while. So it doesn't matter if your channel's generating money at that point, but you somehow want to be earning money. But then you kind of knew, okay, you know, if it comes down to like eviction versus needing to do something, I can probably like use these relationships to get a job.
Because like I was at the point where like I knew that it's all or nothing. It was all or nothing. Like everything was just all or nothing. It was crazy. So quit my job, I'll figure it out. I've never started a GoFundMe, and back then GoFundMe was like there wasn't as many like sus GoFundMes as there have been, you know. So I started a GoFundMe, and I was like, I'm gonna fundraise because I wanted to make this whole digital literacy thing, and like, you know, I was just trying everything because I was just like, this is it. Like this is the craziest thing that I'm ever going to do. If ish hits the fan, it's just an ask. It's just an ask, you know, to a colleague or somebody who's connected. Like I just knew enough people that I was like, I can make a phone call and someone could hook me up with like something. And if that doesn't work, I'll go work at Starbucks. I didn't want to do that, but I knew I could. Like I knew if I really needed to like something, I'll go get an hourly job. The thing is though, I was working at a co-working space, and then I met the regional project manager of Postmates, and that's what I ended up doing because you can work on your own time, and there's no boss. You don't have to report to anybody. Just do it all from your app. You can turn it on anytime. Like I was doing Postmates, you know, 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. on a Friday night, which do not do that.
So
it's a lot of fast food in Long Beach to people who are super high and drunk. That's what I did. Like, so yeah, don't do it my way. It kind of did make for good content, but
I mean, I don't think you should say don't do it your way. I think it's key that we did it very different ways.
That was my way. Yeah. I'll tell you this right now. There's no way I could have done.
There's no way I'm doing Postmates at 2 a.m. in Long Beach. Like, I'm not even awake at 2 a.m. I'm not ordering it. I'm not delivering it. I'm not awake or conscious. I am asleep.
There's no way you would ever do Postmates.
No.
I had a great time. I was vlogging. I liked like talking to people.
It is.
I would have totally done Uber, but I drive a Camaro.
Every nightmare of mine into one situation. Talk to strangers, go to their house, oh no.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, see, so that right there is just a good example of we're talking about the exact same thing, but our feelings about it and our approach to it are entirely different, and neither is wrong.
Yeah.
And the same thing is true when it comes to how you want to approach YouTube. So at the beginning of this episode, when I said, if you listen to this, we're not saying do this, don't do that. We're saying, hey, here's some thoughts. Maybe you can hear something that you might cherry pick or give you an idea of why you want to take a certain approach or not take a certain approach with what you're doing. And that's really the best we could hope for, honestly.
Yeah. HR shirt is Bombski. Fun fact, Simone Legano painted a wall the next block over from me. Who's that?
Your artist?
Is that the artist of this?
I don't know.
Let's see. No such thing as free. Tech troublemaker. YouTube is still in the hobby phase for me, but I want it to be a side hustle.
And just keep at it and then let things happen organically.
If YouTube shut down, you would find another main street quickly. Your skills are transferable and you already have the
re-upload. That's true. Here's this video from 2017.
Hey Josh, let's see. Business growth ready. Could you imagine the eBay listings on Video Tech if YouTube shut down?
Flooded with cameras. You want a ZV-E10? There you go.
Nick says, also there's a difference between a classic YouTuber business that sells advertising, brand deals, and AdSense versus a business that uses YouTube as a marketing channel, coaching, etc. Very different. Yes. Right. And I wish more people understood that, because I think when people go into YouTube, I think that they would find success faster, easier doing using YouTube as a marketing channel. But obviously, like, the way that we know YouTube, like if you are new to YouTube, when kids say they want to be a YouTuber, they're not thinking they're going to use YouTube as a marketing channel. Like, they're thinking of the YouTuber, influencer, content creator. Neither is wrong, but it isn't. There's like so many ways. There's so many ways. Is anyone else always experiencing Tom cut in and out from the mic?
Hopefully not.
Hey, Melanie. Let's see. Hey, Philippe from Brazil. A job will always be there to fall back on someplace. It's better than a hold my root beer and watch this jump. Let's see. Sometimes we just have to step up on the edge and jump. YouTuber, barista. Like, I had so many friends. Because, okay, I took bartending classes in, like, 2015. So if I could have, I would have, like, done bartending. But I don't know. There's such a leap. So then all my friends were like, Heather, you'd be awesome as a Starbucks barista. Yeah. So I was like, okay, I'll do that.
There's the thing that I miss about having a regular job is the perspective that it gives you. Because if you're focusing on like your YouTube channel all day, every day, it's very easy to get lost in the weeds and lose your perspective. And so having the job was like, especially a job that was very like, it was a busy job and it was something I cared about and was interesting. So it was stimulating. To just completely forget about that for 7 or 8 hours, focus on this, and then come back to it really gave a nice sense of perspective that's hard to get now. So I've known people who like, they will get a relatively like simple part-time job, maybe to help supplement income, but also to just sort of like get out of themselves for a bit, go do this, and then come back. And that's, I think there are probably a lot of very successful YouTube baristas out there.
It's an RS. I'm rocking Tokidoki and I don't know Simone Legeno. It's the artist. Yes. Thank you. Hey, Roger. And everyone says your mic sounds great. And Mr. Camry Junkie bartended for years. That's awesome.
I'm not surprised. You also did stand-up comedy.
I know.
Oh, yeah. He says you're the artist. Because it's girl on your shirt. Oh, yeah. And it's also your shirt.
Tokidoki.
There you go.
So I'd love to have Nick on one day, because I feel like I just want to hear how you do it, whatever you're willing to talk about. Nick, because I know you do it differently, and I definitely don't want people to think that like the way we do it is the only way to do it. But and I know we give all the disclaimers.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Nick started his YouTube channel. I forget if it was purely a personal endeavor or if it was as like a supplement channel? Business marketing channel, and then the channel just did its own thing. But also Roger asked Tom, did you get the Tamron 17 to 28? No, I ended up getting the PGY Tech Mantis Pod instead, which is very different. But I was looking at getting a zoom lens, and I found the one that I do want to get when I get one. And one of my favorite just happened to be Roger had a review that like I stumbled across through the search, and I was like, oh, this is perfect.
That's funny. I love it when like we meet each other out there in the YouTube world.
Yeah, in the wild.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? I forgot. I have a full-time job. Gil's here. Hey. I have a full-time job that's so removed from creating, and it helps a lot with coming back to video or photo I'm working on.
Yeah.
HR, you're still my favorite host of the Couples Table. Ha! Just kidding. Greg, Tom, do you find your work-life balance is better now than when teaching?
Yeah, 100%, yes.
Like, as his wife who witnessed
even
both.
Yesterday I was leaving to go on a bike ride in the morning, and what did you say? You were like, do you remember when you were like, you had to leave and go to work in the morning? And I was like, do you remember when I would just wake up tired and depressed every day?
I can't even tell you how different.
Yeah.
I love Tom. I am here
Thank you.
Through thick and thin, the highs and lows, everything. But let me tell you, that was an unhappy, frustrated man.
Yes.
And it's not because he was a bad teacher. It's just that there's so many things that you wish you could do, but you're just bound by public education. And just like, it's so frustrating. Shout out, host. I remember first seeing you on Big John TV when you were at that YouTube convention. Setup looks great. Congrats and more power to your channel. Big John TV.
Sounds really familiar.
Big John TV? Big John TV.
You just keep saying it.
I don't know what that is, but hi. I pretend myself. Your way of doing it is the correct way for you. Yeah. I'm willing to talk about anything. Also, I'm coming to LA September, October. Can we be the Throubles?
Yes, please.
You have to come visit. That would be super fun. So we definitely have to meet up. Did you get that shirt on Amazon? If so, drop an affiliate link. I did not. I got this on Fresh Hoods.
The giant logo on the sleeve.
Yeah, I know. It's this.
At least
this
it's a cool logo, though.
It's so much word situation, though. Like, I'm not.
Right.
I wish it were just like an icon. You know, like this.
That's a cool.
This is the Tokidoki logo.
Yeah, that's a cool one.
This is a lot of words. Anyway, is it even possible for a teacher to have work-life balance? Yeah, that's hard. No such thing as work-life balance. I really want to fight this notion. It's all life, as we are humans. I'm willing to debunk anyone on this. The spouse of a teacher is a tough gig.
Yeah, that's why a lot of teachers marry other teachers, because you get it, but then they also sometimes drive each other insane.
Well, see, I worked in education.
Yeah, so you.
But I worked as a communications like marketing person at a private school, so completely different than public education.
Completely different than public education, but you at least like the dynamics weren't.
Students, parents.
I wasn't speaking a different language when I was explaining stuff.
Also, Doc, can we talk about this dislike button here on the comment box? Like, can we just check a box in the options to like hide it? Just because I know what you're gonna say. You're gonna tell me like, don't look at it. It's fine, and it totally is fine. I think
Doc's gonna say go submit a request form to ECAM's official thing.
Oh man. So
is it time to clear the table?
Yeah, I was gonna say like, we should end on like a.
Okay, so here's the thing that I would want somebody to take away from this discussion.
What's the thing that take away from the table?
That I would your couple's takeaway from the table would be to really do what you can to learn as much as you can from other people and other philosophies and other approaches, but really pay attention to you and what works for you specifically, and don't be afraid to do things differently. Don't be afraid to make a decision now and reevaluate later down the line. But just stick to what feels right for you. And like, here's a good example that I'll give right now. Mid-roll ads. I hate them, so I don't use them.
Okay, let me tell you something, okay? Mid-roll ads. I heard Tom on the phone with Peter. Peter trying to convince Tom to turn on mid-roll ads, and he was just like, no. And Peter's like, yes.
You're going to double your income.
Yes. And Tom's like, no. I mean, they're just arguing. Not arguing.
There's been a lot of
back and forth.
Peter's the most vocal one, and I mean, he has most of the data, and I trust it, and he's literally going like, we're going into a recession. This is a way for you to potentially double your ad revenue. Take this opportunity to set yourself up for more security in the future.
He thinks like, what is holding you back? Pride? Like, let it go, bro, and just flip the button.
Yeah, so for me, though, what it is Peter's right. I could make significantly more money by putting mid-roll ads in the 350 videos on my channel, probably. I just really don't like mid-roll ads is the thing. And I know YouTube is free. If someone doesn't like them, they could pay for YouTube Premium. But the way that I'm feeling right now is more than that. When I make my videos, I work really hard on them. And if someone watches one long enough to be to the point where there's a mid-roll ad, I don't want to interrupt the thing that I put so much time and effort in with, I don't know, a Captain Crunch commercial or something. Something completely random and disconnected. And even though I had Captain Crunch for breakfast this morning, which was delicious, by the way, and I don't want to do that to my video. I don't want someone to have that experience. I've seen other people very effectively incorporate mid-roll ads. They even put in like breaks and fade outs, and then the ad hits right there like a TV commercial. So I'm not passing any kind of judgment on people who do mid-roll ads. What I'm saying is that for me right now, when I go to the monetization tab and I hover over the little thing that says mid-roll ads, I get a yucky feeling in my stomach. And I could power through that and get more money. But I also, if I do that, I'm going to feel bad and I'm going to feel frustrated and I'm going to be less excited about what I'm making. And I would rather feel good about what I'm making and be excited about it. And so my answer is no to mid-roll ads. In 6 months, it might make sense to come back and go like, well, how do I still feel that way? Did something change? And so that could change. Like, just because you make a decision now doesn't mean that's the way it is forever. It just means like, this is how I feel right now. This is why I feel that way. Anything that helps you feel more positive and happy and excited about making stuff and sharing it on YouTube is a good thing. And that's something you should chase, even if it means you're going to not be necessarily following best practices or earning the maximum amount of revenue. I think that's my
like you are
opinion.
Willingly leaving money on the table.
Yes.
There's that is also why there are no mid-roll ads on the couples table. Because I know you feel this way.
But see, that's the thing though. Like, this is on your channel. I know it's our show, but it's on your channel. And if you decided I want to put mid-roll ads, I would have no.
You're the co-host, and I know we never really
qualms.
We never talked about
Not a
this,
qualm
but I
in
know
sight.
you don't like mid-roll ads, so I was like, okay, if we're gonna collaborate on this, then it's fine. Plus, like, there's tipping now, so if someone,
That's true.
I've actually gotten tips on my tutorial channel, and it's cool because it's like. It's so non-intrusive. Like, someone has to go out of their way to go do the super thanks, rather than like I have to force you to watch a mid-roll ad.
Well, it also, like, there's so many variables. So mid-rolls is a good example of something that, like, it seems simple. It's one feature, yes or no. Are you going to put mid-roll ads? And of course, how many you put depends. But I have known and talked to other people who do literally see their ad revenue double when they put mid-roll ads in. That's pretty crazy. I didn't want to discount things. I did go to some of my top performing videos. I went to 2 of them and I put mid-roll ads for a couple of weeks just to see the difference. 0 difference. I mean, a slight bump in revenue.
Not a significant difference.
Not nearly significant enough for me
flip it on.
It was like when my channel first got monetized and it was like, okay, if I turn on ads, I'm going to make $100 a month. I'd rather not have ads. And this was before YouTube would just put ads on anyway. Now that YouTube puts ads on every video anyway, monetize for sure, because why not? But back at the time when it was no ads or ads, I was like, $100 a month for me at the time wasn't worth making people sit through ads before my video. Once it got to be more than that, like $500, $600 a month and beyond, then it was like, okay.
That's like a car payment.
That's what I would call a life-changing amount of money.
Yeah.
Go ahead and do that. And so in my experience, in the little very non-scientific thing I did with mid-roll ads, they made very little difference on my channel. But a lot of that has to do with the kind of content that you make, the audience that you're watching, the location of your audience. Like, it's not just yes or no, same results for everybody.
Thanks, Greg. Here's $6.99 instead of an annoying mid-roll ad.
This episode sponsored by Greg. Thanks, Greg.
Okay, hold on. We have to... Oh, Megan, excited the spouse no longer teaches. Congrats. I didn't realize
Hopefully
that
there's
was
a bit
official.
more sanity in your household now.
Yeah. Let's see. My name ain't Ken. I retired. Images by Gretchen's images. I was just only going to say images.
35 years.
Gretchen says, I retired from teaching after 35 years. I think my husband was more relieved than me.
Well,
wow.
Congratulations.
Yes, congrats. Hello, Ambi. I work at a STEM academy. There's so much work, and I often have to take projects home with me. Wish I had more time to stream and record on my channel.
Yep.
Yeah, STEM academy sounds kind of fun, though. Don't people make so much more money with mid-roll ads?
I don't know. I mean, also speaking, we brought up Gerald and Dunn a while ago. A while ago, he said he took off mid-roll ads, was going to see, and he's never put them back. So
Melly says, take the money. Tom and Peter are basically married and need counseling. This above all, to thine own self be true.
There you go.
It's YouTube, so do what you love and don't make yourself miserable over things you can't control.
Tony's got a nice perspective. I like it.
Yet you care more for the viewers that don't want to be interrupted.
I do, because it's funny because I have YouTube Premium, so I forgot there were
Yeah,
ads.
I completely forgot.
Like, ultimately, here's the biggest life hack.
had
Just get YouTube
We've
Premium
had YouTube
if you
Premium
watch a
for
lot.
a really long time.
Yeah.
Not a really long time. Like,
Every time I accidentally click on something where it's not a logged in account, I'm like, what is...
yeah, I
is
get
this?
confused. Yeah, it's like, wait, what is this?
YouTube Premium is Yeah, that's the ball.
I
Cancel
forget
Netflix
people don't
to get
have
that.
that. I don't, because it doesn't matter for me. This speaks volumes for where your heart is. Patrick says, why not add mid-roll ads to videos over a month old?
Yeah, I've thought about all kinds of things like this, which is something that could, like, I'm not saying never. I'm not like drawing a line in the sand saying no. I'm saying right now, I don't like, what I really like the idea is that when someone goes to my channel and they might have to sit through an ad or two at the beginning of the video, after that, they get an uninterrupted experience. The video I made, paced how I made it, organized how I made it is exactly what they can experience, because that's why I made the video that way. And I want them to have the thing that I made the way that I made it. That's really it. But, you know, again, that's how I feel right now. Maybe in 6 months I'll feel different.
Wow, homesick Mac. Before happily paying for YouTube Premium, I never had problems with any amount of ads in the videos of my favorite creators. I'd watch them fully.
I mean, I don't think you're alone in that. I've heard other people say the same thing, because like, I'm supporting the person I like. Yeah.
I should put mid-roll ads just to be a D, because folks need to and get premium.
Well, I've seen those videos before I had YouTube Premium. I would watch like news bloopers, like local news bloopers, where it's a 10-minute video of just local news goofs, and there's literally a mid-roll ad every 50 seconds throughout the video, and you're just like, oh my god. But the video has 4.8 million views or something, so you know they're just making bank off this video of re-uploaded content.
I've been considering not having mid-roll ads. Definitely going to test it with upcoming videos.
Yeah, and again, like I said, the numbers are so different for everybody.
Honestly, I really don't think, like, on the viewer end, like someone who, you know, I would think that if we want our channel to grow, for most people, this is not necessarily someone like Doc, but most of your audience are probably not going to be creators also. And if someone is on YouTube, their experience
they're already used to
just ads. Like, that's just normally what they're used to. So, like, I don't even think they realize when it's not there. Like, oh wow, there were no mid-roll ads in that video.
So here's what I think. This is literally just a crazy person theory that I have. Is no, they won't notice, because the average person, they go to YouTube, there's ads everywhere. It's just
like, they're not going to be like, wow, Tom made a conscious decision.
I don't think so. But here's what I do think. Is that subconsciously they're going to feel like watching that video was more pleasant.
Yeah, it was a better experience.
Because they didn't have to get interrupted or do something. Like, I feel like there is a subconscious thing. I don't think that they know it's your... But I feel like maybe they watch 5 of my videos, and now 5 times they've just felt like it was a little bit nicer than when they watch another video on some level.
Just so you know, I really appreciate that you do this. Like, I'm on board.
I truly think that there's something to that. And that is why I am currently making the decision for myself currently to do this.
I mean, but this is what I'm talking about. Why you are you, you know, where I don't think anyone would say no to, like, you know.
I mean, look, if I'm being an idiot and turns out I triple, I could be making 5 figures a month in ad revenue if I just click the stupid button. Maybe I need to click the stupid button. I get it, but I don't think that is the case.
It's called scruples. We all have some and have to decide what messes with them and how much we are willing to accept.
Yeah, it's not a moral thing. It's just a preference thing in this case.
Mid-roll ads equals swimming pool, not just a hot tub. I don't get it.
Because more money. More cash.
Oh, I see.
That's funny.
I'm over here trying to maximize as many little pennies as I can on my content.
I mean, that's why you got to do what's right for you. There's no...
Hot Dang Show. Hey, guys, what's up?
Such a good logo.
Premium for the win. Ben says, when my kids try to show me YouTube videos, we end up spending the first 5 seconds sitting through ads, and it's excruciating. Yeah. My girlfriend doesn't have YouTube Premium. It might be the biggest red flag about her. It is a better experience without the interruption. Oh, Ken says, yes, I notice when someone has mid-roll ads all over the place.
All over the place, but not one. Like, one mid-roll ad in an 18-minute video is probably not really that noticeable, but when people have like 8...
Do you think mid-roll ads mess up viewer retention? Like, people leave the ad?
Honestly, from what I have heard, no. I haven't heard anyone at any level say that there is actually any negative effect to channel growth or retention or anything. If anything, if you wanted me to get real, like, conspiracy theory-ish. I would almost think that YouTube would promote videos with mid-roll ads because
they get more money.
They get to play more ads in those videos, right? Like, so I don't know if that's the case or not, but
Pierre says, "Yup, it works subconsciously. It gives a feeling of respect. Although if you put on the ad, I will still watch your channel because it is still good."
Thank you.
What happened?
Oh, I just got a thing that said something had been delivered, but like nobody was here, so I was like,
"Oh, she's a 10, but doesn't have YouTube Premium." That's funny. Good point. Spiral Lab, speaking from personal experience, I 100% click away if the video isn't great as soon as a mid-roll ad.
Yeah, because if you're like, this video's fine, but I don't know, and then the ad comes in, I guess it's I'm out.
Yeah.
Like there have been times I've accidentally closed a video, or like, you know, you're watching something and I accidentally like tap on another video that opens up. I'm like, oh shoot. Like, I wasn't that into it to go back. Alrighty. So anyway, the takeaway was you got to do things your own way in a way that works for you. And don't be afraid to reevaluate and change your opinion as time goes on.
There you go.
All
Well.
right.
Oh, by the way, next week is our 100th episode of the Couples Table. So if you were there for Tom's 100K subscriber celebration over on his channel, we are going, we are going to plan some activities, fun activities. For
It'll
you
be a
guys
fun
to play.
episode,
It'll be
so
a
be
fun
here next
episode.
week.
Yeah. If you didn't check out that live stream, it was so much fun. Please go watch the replay. I've seen it 3 times. It was so much fun.
A lot of people have told me they rewatched it, which
It's
is
so much
not
fun.
something that usually happens with a live stream, so that's really cool.
Yeah. But I don't know. We're going to try to figure something.
Something fun.
We'll plan something. So be here. It'll probably be a longer one. So same time.
As opposed to
it'll
this
start at the
90-minute
same
episode.
time. Yeah. I don't know. We've been getting longer and longer. So it'll be next Thursday, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. But, you know, we'll probably go till 3.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be fun.
So thank you for being here. With that being said, hope you have a safe, happy, healthy, fun rest of your week. And we will see you next time.
I don't know what sound I was trying to make.
Is that the show ending sound?
Bye. Oh, shoot. I didn't click it. My bad.